Hi, hello, welcome. I have a very exciting first try product review-ish tutorial today. It is using one of my absolute favorite brands. This brand is not only in my professional freelance artist kit, it is all over my home collection as well. I love everything in Mario's line. This is one of the most consistent product lines I've ever used, in that almost every single product is a hit for me. I got the opportunity to try a brand new product from the brand. This is the Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. So there was a previous Ethereal palette. It was a different color palette, but it also had a variety of both matte eyeshadows and then the shimmery top coats. I will be trying this palette out for the first time with you here, and I'll be talking you through my thoughts on it, comparing it to the previous version of this palette, and we're going to create the look that you see here. I'm going to prime my eyes with the Makeup by Mario eye prep and set. I feel like this is a forgotten product. This one does not get talked about much. It's the one that looks like this. It has the two cream primers and then the setting powder. So this is an eye primer. I think you can use it on your lower eye. I don't, so I'm gonna just mix kind of the two. I don't really need a lot of the pinky color, and I'm using a brush because I do think, well, fingers are totally fine. A brush kind of helps distribute this a little better across the entire eyelid. These feel a little stiff, so it's not a super cream in there. But you can use that included little powder to set them. I'm just saying they're really not sticky, so you may not even need that. But I am using this to cancel out all of those veins in my eyelids, discoloration. I really want to give the eyeshadow palette the best chance of performing as it should. And I assume, since this is a Makeup by Mario product as well, that it was made to work with this. I have been using and loving the Makeup by Mario foundation, Surreal Skin, since it came out. I am shade 3W, which I find to be a really good match for me. I often put it on my hand, but I am going to put it on a palette, kind of to keep myself accountable. I find one pump is really enough. So I'm loading up my brush, and this also helps you to do that. You have more surface area than you would on your hand. And if it's even on your brush, it'll be even on your face. That's the idea, right? So, I mean, I have a lot of discoloration out here. I always say start where you have the most to correct, and for me, that would be there. So we're going to apply the Surreal Skin. This is a dewy foundation. It's got a little bit of light reflection in it, and if you are an oily person or you just really like a matte look to your skin, this is not the foundation for you. There are others. I love it. I think it makes my skin look beautiful. I have no issues with it, but I can totally see how if you're not a dewy, luminous fan, you won't be a fan of the Surreal Skin. This is one of my absolute favorite Makeup by Mario products. This is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. To me, this is a kind of diluted cream bronzer, and I think that's a good thing because it is not full strength, therefore it's buildable. I think you can gradually bronze the face and it doesn't look artificial. I just love this product and I use it on my clients and myself. I use the shade light medium, and I know that I'm, light skinned. You wouldn't think light medium for me, but it actually works great, and it works for a lot of people. And of course there are other shades, but get out of there. I find light medium is a great shade for the perimeter here, so where you would normally get sun, and I am using kind of a more flat paintbrush-like brush to do this with, but I hope you can tell how gradual this is. I mean, you're not going to get too much pigment on there and then have no choice but to distribute it because it is so nice and forgiving. So I do not consider this a contouring product. It is called Soft Sculpt, so I get it. You could sculpt, but very, very, very gently, right? I mean, this isn't like a hard, angular contour, but I am kind of wrapping it around, my natural cheekbone area. I like to do like a C shape on either side. So like C shape here, C shape here. I like to bring it, up onto the temples. You can actually do it on your cheekbones because if you're simulating warmth, I mean, this is the high points of the face. That's where the sun would hit you. So we are going to use a little bit of the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil, and I have two different colors, and I'm going to use two different colors. So first we're going to use Rose Crush, which is kind of more of a berry blush, and then I'm going to go in with a little brighter shade, which is Pinch Me Pink. For some reason, these are hard to say. All right, so I'm gonna go in with that deeper shade first. So I'm gonna grab a different brush. Don't wanna muddy them up. So grabbing a little bit of that on this. And these are similar to the Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancer because they are a little bit diluted. I don't know of a better word. That's what I mean. Like they're not full strength right out of the gate. So they help you to really build and not, you know, get too much to work with, and then you can't really take it off, so you just end up blending it around. We are grabbing the Pinch Me Pink and just putting that on the very top. So I'm gonna load up just the pointed part of the brush too to do it with, and just do it like right there. This may not make a huge difference on camera, but I do like to use two different blush colors. It gives dimension and usually looks a little more realistic than just one shade all over. You're going to set all of this. I'm going to be using the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder. This is the shade 2 Neutral Light. I have seen people that have similar skin tone to me, or even darker, saying that maybe they should have gotten the lighter shade. I probably could do the lighter shade too, but it is more pinky. So I don't know. I do like that this is more neutral. So I am loading up a little powder puff. This is not the Makeup by Mario powder puff. This is actually a very cheap one off Amazon. I do not recommend, so ignore it. So I don't have the Makeup by Mario concealer. That is one of the few products I don't have. I'm sure I will get around to trying it eventually. So I used a different brand, and I'm just setting that first with the powder. Now, I agree with people that said that this could look a little dry on the under eye area, so I just want to tell you, be very conservative with the powder if you're using it to set that under eye area. So it does have a really nice blurry, soft quality. Now we're ready to try the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. Here is the palette. I have not used it yet. I have swatched it. I have photographed it. I wanted to use it in real time. Okay, this is our first go. We're doing it together. This palette does look cool tone to me initially, right? I would call that a cool tone palette. However, I do see some shades in here that aren't overly cool. You know, the pink kind of mauve shade. We've got these browns here. Some of the shimmers even are more champagne. I'm not a fan of cool tone eyeshadows, definitely not on myself and on very few other people. I just don't find them to be the most flattering. However, this has stuff I can work with, okay? I'm not worried, but let's see how cool tone this is compared to the original, which I loved. All right, so we're gonna dip into this color first. These all just have names that are like EM2, so Ethereal Moonlight 2. I think this might be 3. Okay, so I'm going to put this shade in my crease first. That's how I would start any look. Now, do I think, you know, it is a little bit more of a mauve pink. It's not like a rosy pink. Please don't think like Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk pink. The formula is really nice, easy to work with, super silky soft. I don't really have any fallout. So far, so good. I'm just kind of grabbing little bits of it and building to deepen up that crease. I always like to take it out and up at the outer corner. Make sure it's on my brow bone too, so when you look at me, you can see that color peeking up. So I like this color so far. I gotta figure out, I believe this is EM3 in the palette. I can't tell which way it's going, but I think this is 3. But yeah, I like this shade, and I do think cooler tone palettes have their place. For a while, it was a very peachy, orangey palette parade, and I know that not everyone really likes that color, or for some people, they just don't prefer it on themselves. So this could be a great palette if you're one of those people that's just not the sunset vibes fan. And really, this is moonlight. It's not sunlight. Next shade, I think we will go with the darkest brown here. I mean, that's the one that is the most familiar to me. I love a good dark chocolatey brown, and we'll see if this is indeed a warmer brown, or is it cooler toned? A little cooler toned, but I think it has enough warmth to make this palette versatile. You know, I don't really know, is it all that helpful to have an all warm or an all cool palette? It's nice to have options. So I'm just using that to deepen up the outer third of my eye. I have no plans for this look. I have no plans in this look. I'm not going anywhere. All right, I am now going to move on to the lid. So I'm going to use that ivory shade. It looks matte, but it isn't. It actually has a little bit of sheen to it. So I believe that would be considered EM1 in the palette. I'm going to just grab a flat brush, and this one seems to have like a little bit more kick up in the palette than the others. Oh, it's pretty though, but you know what? It doesn't look like it in the pan, but it is a cooler toned cream color. Cream colors, ivories, are usually more yellowy based, and this really isn't. So if you are hoping not to have a real yellowy ivory, it is definitely not. I'm gonna be honest, I will see this through, but I am looking at this thinking, this looks cool tone, and I don't love it on myself. Maybe it'll come all together at the end, and I will put lip color on, and that will certainly help. Of course, we want to see these beautiful glittery top coats. That is what I would consider them. I've swatched them on my hand, and they really don't have pigment. I mean, very subtle. There is a champagne, there is a more like iridescent kind of unicorn one, but these do not deposit color as much as they deposit actual tiny glitter particles and shimmer. So I am most drawn to this one, which is the champagne. I know this is probably me picking all the boring colors, right? I'm gonna try to show you. I'll try to show you how that's swatched on my finger right there. Okay, so traditionally these apply best with your finger and not a brush. I know that from the previous Ethereal Eyes palette, and really just this formula in general is better applied with a finger, and it's very pretty and sparkly. This one is warm enough, you know? This warms up the look for me enough that it may save the look for me, honestly. I feel like these feel a little different compared to the previous Ethereal Eyes palette. These feel a little softer and maybe a little drier, and maybe that's just over time, you know, the more you put your fingers in these palettes with oils in your fingers, they will not be as dry. So it could just be that this is the first time I'm using them, but I do wonder if the formula is different from the previous Ethereal Eyes. Now, I don't have any Makeup by Mario eyeliners on me, but I don't care because I'm actually going to use some of the shadows in here as an eyeliner. So I am tempted to do the navy because I actually think a navy can be a really beautiful liner despite me saying I don't like cool tones. I don't know that it's really going with the vibe I have set here, so I'm going to do brown just to make sure this is still a wearable look. And I'm using an angled brush, and I'm not going to wet it. You could, if you want this to be a little more high impact. I mean, I'm not really going anywhere. If I wanted this to last, I would actually spray setting spray on the brush. But we're just kind of seeing how they perform. You can do a wing if you feel so inclined. For our lower lash line, we could certainly do that dark brown color, but I think I actually want to do the mauve shade from the crease. I like to do that on the lower lash line a lot, so I wiped off this brush. I'm going to just grab that first shade that we used and just kind of sketch that about, well, I don't know, a third of the way across. I want to add one more of the glitter top coats just because they're so fun. This one is like iridescent, so we'll do that one. It looks frosty and white, but I'm going to just put it in the very, very middle. Yeah, it's pretty. It's giving dimension to the already dimensional shimmer there, but it does have a more bluish, almost greenish quality. I don't know if you can see that, but it is very, very sparkly. Makeup by Mario doesn't have a mascara. I'm sure that he will someday, but I just finished the eye look with the mascara from my brand, which is called Portrait, and it's my favorite. So I've completed the eye look. This is, you know, a good first go. There's things I would change. I actually maybe wouldn't have added that kind of holographic top coat because it kind of changed the like temperature vibe here. It's a little more frosty, but I don't know. Now that I look at this from a distance, like I do like that it's a little brighter in the middle. This side needs to be a little brighter. There we go. And I do think these will get easier to work with the longer I work with them, but right now they are pretty dry and I wonder how they'll last. Like I feel like they may not adhere to the lid as well as they could. I mean, definitely use a eyelid primer. I would never ever suggest you do any eyeshadow without priming your eyelid with something, and it doesn't have to be an eye primer as long as you put maybe concealer, set that with powder, give something for your eyeshadow to like grip onto. Let me show you how much I love the Makeup by Mario lip liners. This is all I have left of one. This is how big it is. Like I can't even show you because I'm holding the brush end. This is Toasty, I believe, and I love this shade. It is kind of a mauve-y nude to me. I'll just show you really quick. Okay. I mean, it's definitely in the brownie family, and I love it. For me, it's like a really good nude lip liner. If you are familiar with these, you know they have the little brush, so if you like to, you know, use it to blend out the edges. The eyeliner pencils also have a brush on them, super smart. Let's finish off the look with the Makeup by Mario Ultra Suede Lipstick. This is the shade Annie. I really love this. It is what I would describe as like a terracotta kind of rose. So it's got a little bit of warmth to it, which honestly, I love the idea of a warmer lip with a cooler toned eye. I love the contrast. So I know sometimes you feel like, do I match? Sure. Sometimes I love a harmonious, cohesive look or everything is the same color vibe. Other days, I love the good contrast. I hope you enjoyed putting together this look with me. Again, thank you so much to Makeup by Mario for sending the new Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. This is available at Sephora now or on makeupbymario.com. I hope that you feel inspired and you're going to go create some moonlit looks of your own.